Hi, my name is Courtney Kroger, and this is my review of my ePortfolio. Starting with my goals, just a little bit about myself. This is my sixth year teaching. I'm an elementary school teacher. I teach first grade at St. Mary's, Kansas. I started my master's program 2 years ago. I decided that I wanted to have something to push myself, to challenge myself, and something that I might use in the future. I don't look to use being an administrator or look into getting an administration um, job right away. I really like being in the classroom. Teaching is definitely a passion of mine, and I want to continue doing that for a little bit, especially since I just had a son and he's only 5 months old. So I want to spend as much time as I can with him, and then in the future use my administration degree to, um, be in education still and help others. So a little bit about myself. Like I said before, I have a very strong passion for teaching and encouraging and motivating others. And within education, I can do all of that. Many of my colleagues would describe me as being outgoing, compassionate, and a natural leader. And when students come into my classroom, they're always loved, encouraged, motivated, and they're taught to believe themselves. So I still want to instill these same qualities into my school when I become a school leader. I think that those are still qualities that all teachers should have and students. So I want to continue doing that. For a few of my professional goals, I want to obtain an administrative role, I'd say within the next 3 to 5 years. I would like to be an assistant principal first before I jump straight into a principal role. I'd like to, gain a little bit of knowledge from other principals first. I'd also like to create a shared vision among students, staff, and the community, and then improve my leadership skills by attending some professional development opportunities. Some of my personal goals include maintaining a healthy balance between my personal and professional life, finding ways to still be involved in the classrooms that I don't have to give up my passion for teaching, and then support and motivate those I work with to create a positive learning environment for everyone. So here's a video that I made to just introduce myself a little bit. So moving on to my leadership philosophy, I would definitely say that for my leadership philosophy, I like to be very flexible, have a clear vision, set goals, be supportive of each other, be motivational. I just feel like people have such a better time at work, and students are able to learn better when it's just a positive learning environment. And that is what I want to create. When leaders are very passionate about what they do and they're very positive, I think people come to school because they want to be there. And that's not just for the students, but also for the staff. Nobody likes to show up to a job that they don't like to be at. So that is kind of my leadership philosophy. I think it's so important to work with everybody, collaborate with others, just get everyone's ideas and beliefs, but to be flexible because everything, you need a different philosophy for different people. But be flexible when handling different situations. Um, and I think I followed the situational leadership style a lot. Here is just a little show of my program of studies to show that I did complete all 36 hours for our master's degree. And here is a current resume that is submitted for grad school to be an educational leader and to be an administrator. So I'm going to move down here to our activities. I'm going to start with our bibliography. For our bibliography, for our 10 sources that we needed to find, I chose a lot of sources that dealt with leadership, a lot of sources that dealt with school climate and culture, sources that dealt with not professional, but positive learning environments, and then positive behavioral support. And I did choose a couple on special education because I don't feel like have as much knowledge or as strong in the knowledge area of special education as I would like to be. So those are definitely sources that I can look back to. After reading, a lot of these are books. There are a couple articles, but most of them are books. And after reading them, I just feel like I gained so much insight as to, even after learning a lot from our classes, but a lot of insight onto how to build a positive learning environment, not only for students, but also for teachers, staff, and everyone in your school. Like I mentioned before, that is such a big deal to me, is that everybody feels welcome when they show up to school. They want to be there, they're positive. And it's just a great way to build people up. I think students just learn better too when they're in a positive learning environment. So a lot of my sources have to do with that, and then how to be a good leader, different ideas, examples, principles on how to be a good leader. and how to guide others within the school, whether it's guiding other personnel, guiding students, things like that. So that's what a lot of my sources on my bibliography are about. So moving on to our activities, I'm going to start with our district activities. For most of my activities, I had quite a few district and then quite a few elementary. Elementary was definitely my focus for activities because I am an elementary school teacher and I would actually like to be an elementary school principal one day. Secondary, I had a few, not as near as many as my district or elementary though. So here is for our district. The first category was vision and goals. So a few activities that I completed for vision and goals. I am on our district leadership team, and I feel like this has helped me tremendously. There's just so many things that I didn't know about going into this, being an administrator, that I've learned so much about being on our district leadership team, especially since we've been working on the KISA model these last few years. So working next to other principals, the superintendent, our director of special education, things like this has helped huge. And being part of making goals for our school, helping figure out how we're going to achieve those goals, keeping track of data. This was an activity that was 18 hours long over multiple days, and so I just feel like I have gained so much insight into those things from being on this team. I also was a part of admin meetings over a new construction area. Our school is getting a renovation this year, and so the principals and the superintendent had to meet frequently um, over, building construction and stuff because there's construction going on at the high school as well. And since we were a district of 4 schools, the elementary school and the other part of our district was doing construction as well. So it was a district activity just because it was in all parts of our district. Our next one is teaching and learning. I was a presenter at our new teacher orientation, and I had made a promotional video of St. Mary's that you can watch here, just highlighting all the reasons why St. Mary's Elementary School is such a great place to be. So this was shown to our new teachers coming in just to kind of give them a little idea of what they're jumping into and just how great our school is. Managing organizational systems and safety activities. I had an interview with our district treasurer. She talked to me a lot about how they budget money, how they do petty cash, just everything financial within our school. Collaborating with key stakeholders, I went to multiple school board meetings, and then I had some special education interviews with our administrators, sped teachers, and paraprofessionals that I learned a lot from them. And then ethics and integrity, just special education meetings within our school. Each month there's one special education meeting where it's our special education director, principal, superintendent, and other special education teachers where they discuss students within our district that might need some help or behavioral plans that they might need to discuss at that time. So moving on to elementary, like I said, that this was my main focus. So a lot of my hours were in elementary because I'm here. So I was able to cover for my principal some days. And like I mentioned before, I would like to be an elementary school principal. So for vision and goals, I was our PLC leader for the last few years. I helped direct, what we're going to be talking about in those PLC meetings, strategizing together with other people in our group, going over curriculum, ways to enhance learning, keeping the group motivated. So I was that for the last couple of years. And also as part of the KISA accreditation meetings where we helped set or create our building action plan and setting goals and ways that we're going to keep track of those goals and keep track of data. For teaching and learning, I helped my principal with e-walkthroughs and evaluations this year and the last year. So I was able to log into hers. As you can see, it says her name on it because I'm not set up as a principal. I was able to log into her account and then go through all the steps that it would do for an e-walkthrough, saying how many kids are in the class, what topic they're learning, what are they learning about. The Marzano's 9, was there technology being used, were there other materials being used? And so there's all these check boxes that you had to click and then give the teacher feedback as well. And then manage organizational systems. I've helped create our master schedule with our principal. And then with our PBIS, our positive behavior implementation system last year, we had 2 full days where we created signs for our hallways about how we be respectful, responsible, and ready. That's our huge school thing. And so working together to create this for our school. And then collaborating with key stakeholders, I was able to send home monthly newsletters to parents and community members, just talking about what's going on in our school. And then I was able to attend booster club meetings where they help out a lot in our school. And then ethics and integrity activities. I've been on our BLT meeting for the last few years, BLT team, I'm sorry, for the last few years, where we talk about everything that in our school that we need to go over. We actually just had a meeting yesterday where we talked about themes for next year, ideas for back to school night, just anything that the principal needs an assistant with. We are her team that she's there to talk to. I was also able to give out awards at award ceremony and act as the administrator in that, which I loved because then you get to see all the kids and be with them and hand out awards. And then education systems, I was a part of the student intervention team for other grade levels other than just my own to offer advice on what they should do for kids who might be struggling and getting them a SIP plan in place. And then for secondary, like I said, I didn't have as many activities for secondary. For vision and goals, I was a part of their building leadership team for a couple days to talk about their KISA goals and to talk about their plan of action to meet those goals at their high school. I was also the administrator at the band and choir concert. And then this one actually impacted me the most. We had an active shooter drill at the high school that I was able to act as an administrator as a part of. Um, the kids were allowed to be a part of it. They were allowed to be victims in this crisis to make it seem very real. And like I said, pictures were not allowed since the scenes were actually so graphic that it seemed very real. They had, they had blood all over them, not real blood, but there's artists there making them look like they had just been shot and blood, and it was just very emotional day. There's videos here that you can click on. The WIBW broadcasted over the news, articles about it. It was very interesting, and the kids, got a lot from that. I created a school climate and culture survey for the high school talking about, and this was sent out to parents after parent-teacher conferences to see how they felt about the high school. I was a principal at the basketball game, administrator on duty, and then I had an interview with the high school principal on their legacy hour, which is helping kids, you can read through this, on helping kids work through different situations that are going on in their life. Bullying, alcohol, drugs, things that they might be affecting them at the time. It's kind of working with the teachers and the kids to help them work through those situations. So for my reflection, before starting this practicum experience, I was very overwhelmed thinking to myself, how am I ever going to complete these hours with? I was a coach of 3 sports. I'm teaching first grade. I'm about to have a baby soon. I was very, overwhelmed thinking and wondering, how am I going to do this? But I was also very excited to see, what it is truly like to be an administrator. As I began my experience, though, I realized that getting the hours wasn't necessarily the hard part. It's all the decision making that administrators have to do. And I was amazed at how many different meetings that they have to go to, and sometimes how much little time that they had with children. So I was always wondering, is that all that administrators do? Is their entire day filled with meetings and paperwork? Do they ever get to spend time with students? They're always pulled in so many different directions during the day that it was unreal to me. Um, and I also wasn't sure. I kept questioning myself if I was ready to leave the classroom because I just didn't want to lose those relationships that I had with students and staff members. But after being a part of it, I realized that their days are very full of meetings and things like that, but that's what they have to do to keep our school running and to be, keep enhancing ourselves. So, but they still get to see the children in the hallways, lunchtime, bus duty, things like that, where they're always making those relationships with them. They also make relationships with parents and people outside of school. So I had a great practicum experience. I loved working with all of my administrators. They were very positive. They had a great impact on me. Although I am not, quite ready to be an administrator yet, I'd say within the next few years I will be, and they helped me see that I will be ready for it at that time. So just the last couple of things. Here is my activity form where you can see all of my activities. District, secondary, elementary, the standards attached to all of them, and just the administrative verification saying that I did complete all of these hours. So once again, I had a great practicum experience, and thank you so much for allowing me to do this through Fort Hays. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.